Good evening, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming tonight. My name is Amrit Mirpuri. I'm the VP of Learning and Strategy. Today embarks a special milestone as it's our first learning event for the 2024-2026 board and under the leadership of our president, Mr. Mahesh Mirpuri. While I'm here, I wish to also congratulate my board for achieving a full house tonight. May I, however, request all phones to be placed on silence to avoid distraction to others. The bar and buffet will be closed and resume after the session. May I call on our VP of Communications, Mr. Jeff Mirpuri, for the invocation. And by the way, it's his birthday today. Kindly rise for prayer, and the anthems are to be followed. Thank you.
Dear God, as we gather today for our first chamber meeting as the new board of 11 members headed by our president, Mahesh Mirpuri, we turn our hearts and minds towards you in our humble prayer. Grant us clarity of thought, unity of purpose, and wisdom in our discussions. Bless our endeavors with success and guide us as we seek to serve our community and members with integrity and compassion. May your divine presence inspire and uplift each and every one of us as we embark on this journey together. Amen.
Good evening, everybody. I would like to call the new members in front. As I mention your name, please do proceed in front. Shirley Emporium, Mr. Ashok Chugani. Sprout Solutions, Ms. Kisley Chandra. Neonorm Consumer, Mr. Dilip Budrani. ADI Recruitment, Mr. Sunit Kolat. KNB, Mr. Ramesh Ramchandani. Brijesh Sports and Music, Mr. Brijesh Delani. Please do come forward as your name is being mentioned. Thank you. Limitless Corporation, Sanjeev Mansukani. NESDA, Mr. Hariom Kendewal. SK Optic Trade, Mr. Sunny Karamchandani. Sunbeam Impex, Mr. Ravi Gurnamal. Plantation Sports, Mr. Krishan Sadwani. Padma Enterprise, Mr. Vikram Karnani. Jazz Travel and Tour, Ms. Renu Daryanani. Visme International, Mr. Deepak Asudani. Concordia Interior and FFE Philippines, Mr. Gagan Mehta. Orange Grab, Mr. Neil Raj Mengrajani. Innov Corp, Mr. Sunil Karamchandani. GSS PH, Ms. Veena Iyer. Kelson Corp, Mr. Vijay Chugani. Air Life International Trading, Mr. Manoj Kanchandani. I would like to request our President, Mr. Mahesh Mirpuri, to induct the new members.
Hello. Oh, do you all have the oath on your phones? If you don't have, it's okay. Please share with the person next to you. All right? I can see 1, 2 people with no phone, so it's all right. So first, I'd like to personally welcome you all to the chamber. Congratulations. And to everybody here, this is the biggest group that has ever been inducted at the same time at one time. Congratulations to our membership team for such an awesome job. Pravir and Mr. Vishal Hatiramani. So could I request everybody to please raise your right hand and together with me, let us now repeat the pledge of membership together. You can say your name and proceed. Being inducted as a member of the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce Philippines, Inc., do hereby solemnly swear that I shall, to the best of my ability and capacity, perform my duties and responsibilities as a deserving member of the Federation, that I shall actively involve with the affairs of the Federation in the pursuit of its goals and objectives, that I shall undertake my business activities and/or profession as a law-abiding member of society and conduct my affairs with fair play and ethical practice as my guiding principle, that I shall at all times promote goodwill, understanding, and cooperation between the Philippines and Indian communities, that I shall keep the interest of the Federation first and foremost before my own. So help me God. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a rousing applause to the newest members of our esteemed chamber. May I request Haresh and Vishal to please give them their official certificate to prove that they are now part of our chamber. Thank you.
New members, please stay while by the stage for a new photo.
First of all, I'm really happy to see such a beautiful full room. Ladies and gentlemen, past presidents, my hardworking and incredible board, and of course, all of you, our esteemed guest. Welcome to a landmark occasion in the annals of the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce Philippines. As your newly elected president, it is both my honor and privilege to stand before you today, heralding the dawn of a new era marked by innovation, collaboration, and growth under our visionary new board. Today, I see a ballroom filled with young energy and a strong vibe as it starts us all on a new journey, one of adventure, learning, and connection. In extending my deepest gratitude, I must first applaud the extraordinary dedication and the effort of our board. Their relentless pursuit of excellence and commitment to transformative change has laid the foundation for a brighter future for our organization and the community at large. Their work exemplifies what we can achieve when we unite in purpose and passion. Ladies and gentlemen, every single member of the board today was here with me at 5 p.m. Give them a round of applause. Today marks a significant milestone in our journey of growth and impact. With immense pride, I announce the induction of such a big group of vibrant new members into our fold. Imagine, this has never been done before. To have over 20 plus new members be inducted in one single event. And that proves the fact that the trust in this board is at its highest level, and we plan to make a difference that will bring change to all of us. Their addition is not just a number, it is a testament to the strength, diversity, and dynamism that is the lifeblood of our organization. I want to thank our membership committee on such a fantastic job. Even Haresh Mirpuri mentioned to me earlier, in all his years in the chamber, he has never seen such a big number be inducted in one single day. We pledge to continue this momentum, enriching our membership and, by extension, our collective potential. In a reflection of our renewed spirit and aspirations, we unveil today, with the expert guidance of our speaker, Haraya Del Rosario, a distinguished EOS trainer whose insights have been instrumental in the growth of numerous enterprises, including my own. Alongside Haraya, I also extend a warm welcome to Mr. Ryan Cruz and Mr. Gerald Se, who are here to be part of our panel tonight, who will enrich our panel discussion. I also want to say hello to a new good friend, Mr. Vishnu Rajendra, the new country manager of Cathay Pacific, whose presence tonight adds to the luster of our gathering. Welcome to all of you for being here tonight. As we embark on this journey of learning and discovery tonight, I urge you to immerse fully. Set aside your distractions. Put away your gadgets and open your minds to transformative ideas and strategies that will be shared this evening. Guys, I'm telling you without reading my speech, what you can learn today can change your lives. Ditch your phones. I promise you, whatever those messages are, it can wait an hour or two. No one is going to freaking die in the next 2 hours. So trust me, this is going to change your lives. Set aside distractions, put away your gadgets, and open your mind. Sorry, I'm repeating. These are practical tools and wisdoms that promise to revolutionize the way we operate, ensuring tangible improvements and success in your own businesses. Looking ahead, we have an exciting roadmap of events. So there's my core values. It's up there. Thank you. Looking ahead, we have an exciting roadmap of events designed to inspire. Can I see that? Designed to inspire, educate, and connect. Notably, we have our Bowl-a-thon event for fun on May 1st, where we will chill and have a good time and bring unity of sport and team play to the community. And we have our first Next Gen event, which is an influencer marketing summit on May 23 with Blogapalooza, which is a close friend of mine, which promises to be pivotal in shaping the future of business and marketing, as they will share the top trends in influencer marketing in the year of 2024. And this is only open to the Next Gen. So Next Gen out there, make sure you block the date. I also now want to introduce you to our new admin, our new power team. We are now a chamber with an incredible group of talented women who will help us navigate the growth of our chamber. So everyone, give us a round of applause for the following. It's Eileen Levise Arao, our Executive Director. Bea Oy for Membership and Events Associate. And JC Siron, our Administrative Assistant. Ladies, welcome to the family. Now, without further ado, let us celebrate the spirit of unity, learning, and ambition that defines us. Please allow me to introduce you to Miss Haraya Del Rosario, who is a very personal close friend of mine, as we eagerly anticipate the insights and inspirations she is about to share to all of us. She is a first-generation entrepreneur who started her career in corporate before co-founding an outsourcing company 13 years ago. Her first few years in business was a humbling experience as she was at the brink of giving up. Many of us have been at that brink many, many times. And then she discovered EOS. With EOS, she scaled her business, built a leadership team to manage it, and started building other businesses as well. In 2017, she became an EOS implementer, and for the past 7 years, has worked with over 100 leadership teams in Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, Shanghai, Vietnam, Laos, Bangladesh, and as well as our beautiful country, the Philippines, to implement EOS in their business. Last year, she started exiting her business to spend most of her time helping other entrepreneurs around Southeast Asia, just like you and us, to run their business on EOS. And she is enjoying her newly most gorgeous grandson, Charles. Congratulations, Araya. Together, we stand on the brink of a promising future, armed with resolve to achieve greatness, not just for our own organizations, but for a broader community that we all serve. Let us all serve. Let us all embrace this journey with open hearts and minds. Thank you. And let's make this evening unforgettable by taking whatever you learned tonight. You don't need to implement 100%, but all you need to do is take a little bit and start to change a little at a time, and things can be better. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mahesh Mirpuri. I am your chamber president. And I want to thank you all for stepping into the next phase of the FICCI with us. Thank you. Welcome, Haraya.
We will start by clarifying that what we need to achieve are 3 things tonight. First, we want to just get real. It's just us. This is the chamber. Let's get real. Second, let's keep it simple. Our businesses get more and more complex as it grows without our help. Our job is to keep it simple. And then finally, let's focus on results. So let's start with getting real about us. I'm going to share with you just a little background on EOS so you know that I'm not here practicing on you. Everything that I'm going to share with you was put together by a lifelong entrepreneur by the name of Gino Wickman. At 21, Gino started his EOS journey. At 24, he was invited to run the family business, which at that time needed to be turned around. So he turned this business around in about 3 years. He ran it for another 4 years, and then he sold the business. He spent another 3 years to transition this company to the new leadership team, and then he retired from the business. Within that same 10-year period, Gino became one of the founding members of the Detroit chapter of a global organization called EO, the Entrepreneurs Organization. Some of you here are members of EO. And it was in this organization that Gino realized, wow, he had a real knack for the art and the science of running a great business. So when he retired from the family business, he put together everything he knew into what we now know as EOS. There are other operating systems, other ways to run your business. The power of EOS is that it's entrepreneurial. It's a complete set of very simple concepts and very practical tools that have helped hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurs around the world get what they want from their business by really getting great at three things. And we call this vision, traction, and healthy. Vision from the standpoint of everyone in their organizations knowing exactly where their businesses are going and exactly what is the plan to get there. Traction. From the standpoint of everywhere you look, everyone is able to execute against the vision with focus, discipline, and accountability. And healthy, everyone just becoming a part of a healthier, more cohesive, fun-loving team. Because, many times as businesses grow, they don't get healthy. They become the opposite of healthy. So since that time, Gino, myself, and about 800 other entrepreneurs, we call ourselves EOS implementers, have helped over 17,000 companies run their businesses on EOS. My own journey, Mahesh shared with you earlier. I think what I wanted just to add to that is I tripped upon EOS out of desperation. I found entrepreneurship very lonely, and I was just looking for ways to just stay in it because of the pride of needing to go back to corporate. I didn't want to do that. Thankfully, the organization of EO embraced me, and it was there where I discovered EOS. So that's what I do now. I just go around Southeast Asia helping teams learn about EOS. Because again, in the spirit of getting real, talking about you this time, if you are like most of the entrepreneurs I've had the privilege to speak to, you are experiencing one or more of these frustrations. The first one is control. Most of the leaders that I work with, they feel like they don't have enough control of their business. As the business grows, the business starts to gain control over their lives. Their schedules, their relationships, what they can do, they get very frustrated. The next one's profit. Profits. Not enough of it, or not consistent profits. Very frustrating. Right? The other one is people. You're frustrated about your employees, you're frustrated about your suppliers, you're frustrated about your customers, everybody's just frustrating, they can't understand what you want to do. You're frustrated that you're hitting the ceiling. For some reason, you're stuck. The business is not growing the way it used to. And sometimes we're just frustrated because just nothing's working anymore. If you experience one or more of these frustrations, you're in good company. I think most of us do. Is there anyone here who does not experience any of these frustrations? Or at least know someone who's an entrepreneur who does not experience these, right? There are a few. There's a few entrepreneurs, when you look at them, they're having a great life, their businesses are growing, but majority of entrepreneurs are not like that. And it was that drove Gino to be really curious and then obsessed about what is this difference? Why are a few really living a wonderful life while the rest of us seem to struggle as the business grows? And here's what he found. He found that entrepreneurs and their leadership teams that consistently get what they want from their business, they're really strong at 6 things. And so he built EOS around helping leadership teams strengthen these 6 things. We call them the 6 key components. And so whether or not you run EOS in your business, you can use this as a guide to help you get what you want. But I'm going to take you through this today, so then maybe you can go back and take this with you and start working on building a business that will give you what you want. The first key component is vision. Vision is just how you see your business when it's successful. It's how you've imagined your business. Your vision needs to be two things. It needs to be clear, and it needs to be simple. Clear because many times the reason we don't get what we want is because we're not clear what we want. And then simple because people can't execute what they don't understand. So we clarify, we simplify, and then we make sure that it's shared with everyone who works with us. So 100% strong, which is what we're going for, right? We want to strengthen this component. 100% strong in the vision component just means everyone in the organization is 100% on the same page with where your business is going and what is the plan to get there. That's it. If there's 400 people in your company, 400 people know exactly where you're going and they know exactly what the plan is to get there. Vision is strong. So then let's strengthen the second key component, which is people. Great vision won't execute itself. We need great people to achieve a great vision. The aha here is you have unique organizations and you define great people in unique ways. But many of us don't take the time to define what great means for your organization. What does a great person in sales mean for you? Right? Great person in operations, what does that mean for you? And so without a clear definition of great, we're getting people who don't fit the kind of people we need in the organization. So job number one here is for us to be really simple and clear about what a great person is for that organization, and then make sure that everyone in our organization meets that definition of great. That's strength in the component, keeping it simple, right? The third key component is data. 100% strong in the data component just means that you can run your business like you can cheer your basketball team on TV. You can run your business with a handful of numbers that gives you an absolute pulse on your business, right? When you're watching a basketball game, I see this all the time in my family. Nobody plays basketball in my family. But when we're watching a game, everybody can coach. Why? Because there's a handful of numbers that gives them an absolute pulse, right? They know whether they're winning or not. How many of us, when we look at a report in our business, we say, oh my gosh, we're not going to hit our targets in 3 months. We got to do something different, right? We need a handful of numbers to give us the pulse and that strength in the data component. When we get to 100% strong, when we get strong in these 3 components, you know what happens is the issues start making themselves seen. They get smoked out, they bubble to the top. So this helps us get set up to strengthen the 4th key component of business, issues. All businesses have issues, so strength in this component just means that you can smoke out your issue, you can set them up, and you can make them go away for the long-term greater good of your company. Many times when we struggle with issues, it's because we need to firefight issues that just pop up out of nowhere. When you strengthen the first 3, you know when we're doing something that's not aligned, it's not according to plan. You know when a person is not succeeding in their roles, you see it. So all of these issues start to bubble up to the top, and then you now have an opportunity to strengthen the issues component. I will dive a little deeper in the issues component today, which aligns so much, I think, with my experience of Mahesh today. It's just an issue. So we'll go back to that issues component. The 5th key component is process. Process are just a set of steps that you do so you get an outcome, right? Strengthen the process component just means that your core processes, the ones that make your business truly turn and successful, everyone is doing those things in the right and best way all the time. In this model, you'll see, and this is intentional, that process and people are diagonally opposite each other. It's a reminder that even great people, when you throw them in a business that have bad processes, they look bad. When we hire great people, They want to do great things with their company, and they're going to do that in their own way. So you hire 10 great people, you put them in sales, they will try to do 10 different great things to get sales into their company. If you don't have a core process named, documented, that they can follow, they're creating chaos. And all they want to do is do the right thing for you. So we got to strengthen both components to get what we want from the business. The sixth key component is traction. Traction is all about the ability to execute against that vision with focus, discipline, and accountability. Gino is well known for saying this thing, vision without traction is hallucination. It's like we're all just high, looking at a great vision that never comes alive. So we gotta strengthen the traction component. So what the heck is EOS? EOS is just a set of tools and concepts that you can use to help you strengthen the 6 key components of your business so you can then get what you want out of your business. Because when you're not getting it, it's a weakness in one or more of the components. So when we start the journey, what we do is we try to assess the strength of the components of each business. And you can do this too. This is free on our website. I'll give you a link later on. But we aim for each component to be 100%. We're never going to get there. Perfect's the enemy of done, right? So the goal is 80% strong in all of the 6 key components. And this is where you start to feel, traction. We're moving forward. We're building the flywheel, right? If businesses were honest, when they first do this assessment, they're at about 20% strong. They're growing, but it's more painful than it needs to be. It's slower than it needs to be, right? And so we want to start to improve the 6 key components. I don't have the time to go through all of the foundational tools with you tonight. You just ate, so I want to make sure you're able to digest that wonderful food. So I'm going to focus on issues. So let's dig a little deeper into the issues component because like we said earlier, everybody has them. There's a couple of tools that I'm going to share with you, super simple tools. These tools will also help you do other things. Like these tools will help you predict, and these tools will help you see, are you really even fit for the role that you own in your company today? Some of us founders, we feel like we can take any seat in the leadership organization, in the leadership team, and we treat ourselves as owners when we sit there. We don't do that in EOS. In EOS, if you're an owner sitting in the leadership team, you're an employee of the business, you can be fired. As an owner, if you don't want to get fired, you stay in the owner's box. There you vote with your influence, right? With your share. So we make a distinction. But let's go back to the issues component. The first tool that I want to introduce to you is called the compartmentalized tool. We all deal with so much stuff, so many things happening in our business. The first thing you want to do is try to get that organized. The 3 to 7 big things we know we have to achieve this year. We know we need to get that factory going. We know we need to hire this person in some operational aspect of our business. Those big things, we put them in the first compartment, and that's the compartment for goals. We'll spend an entire year trying to achieve those. And then there are things that we really need to focus on and prioritize. 3 to 7 big things we need to do this quarter so that we can hit the goals for the year. We put those in the second compartment, and that's the compartment for rocks. We call those rocks. And then there's the action items we need to do this week. Those are called to-dos. We put them in the to-do compartment. If it's not a goal, it's not a rock, it's not a to-do, it's an issue. It's just an issue. And so what do we do with issues? First, we drop it down. We drop it down into a list, right? Our minds are not meant to store information. They're not storage devices. But many of us, this is our habit, right? Oh, that's an issue. I gotta tell that to my finance manager about, like, later on when I get home. Before you know it, you've forgotten. Our minds are supercomputers. The freer they are from these things we try to keep in our minds, the more efficient they're going to be, right? So we drop them down into an issues list, and then we deal with them when it's time to solve them. We maintain two kinds of issues lists. The short-term issues lists, these are the issues, this holds the issues that you have to solve within the quarter. In EOS, we live our lives in 90-day worlds. We go by quarter. So every quarter, we get a fresh start, right? So short-term issues, we need to solve them within the quarter. Any issue that doesn't need our attention in the next 90 days, we put them in the long-term issues list, and we look at them once a quarter. During that once a quarter, when we're looking at that issues list, we see, okay, if it's relevant for this quarter now, we move it from the long-term issues list, we put it in the short-term issues list, and we deal with it in that quarter, okay? It doesn't matter how you list your issues. You can be techie, you can use Slack or whatever. I'm more traditional, I just use paper and pen, whatever works for you, but agree on how you're going to drop your issues down, agree on that list. It will save you a tremendous amount of time. Okay, so now you have that. You have your issues in an issues list. Oh, and by the way, make sure that when you drop issues down in issues list, you're crisp, but you're clear, right? Sometimes I see leadership teams, they have this long list of issues, and then when it's time to solve them, they're like, what's that again? Oh, what's that again? So make sure it's short, but it's short enough you can still recognize what it is. And then once a week, when it's time to solve the issues, we IDS them. IDS is our approach to solving issues. It's our issue-solving track. It's a discipline of going through these 3 quick steps before that temptation to just discuss issues, right? So the first letter I stands for identify. We identify the root cause of an issue. If we're not sure whatever caused the issue, we're not supposed to discuss even solving it. Let's try to get to the root cause first, because if we don't, we come up with solutions that only solve the symptom sometimes. And so that's why the issue list gets longer and longer. D stands for discuss. Discuss is all about discussing options to solve the issue. It's not about trying to figure out who caused it. It's not a good use of time, right? And then S stands for solve. You know when an issue is solved when one of 2 things happen. 1, there's a decision, or there's an action item, there's a to-do. If you discuss an issue and there's no decision, or there's no action item, and it's still an issue, that issue's not solved. So you go through this IDS, and this came about because Gino got very frustrated working with leadership team who are great at discussing issues, not identifying the root cause, and many times not actually solving them. So once a week, what happens is everyone in the organization, from the leadership team to everyone, they plug in to an issue-solving meeting, right? If they're at the top, they work with high-level issues. If they're at the front lines, they work with more frontline issues. But everyone is involved in solving issues. And at that level, wherever group they are in, right, they combine their issues into an issues list. They choose their top 3 issues for the week. They go to issue number 1, and they IDS it. They identify the root cause, they discuss, they solve. They take home an action item or just a decision, and then they go to issue number 2, and they IDS it. When that's solved, they go to issue number 3, and they IDS it. You try to solve as many issues as you can in that hour, and then you go back to whatever you're doing. That's how we do it in EOS. So if an issue is not solved this week, we're just going to deal with it again next week. We'll prioritize again, and then deal with the top 3. And then at the end of the quarter, when there are issues that remain unsolved in the weekly meetings, we just solve all of them in the big quarterly meeting. So then when we start the next quarter, we have a clean slate. And it's like new energy again, right? And so It's just an issue, and I love that I saw it from Mahesh today. Oh, no PowerPoint. It's just an issue. It will come up there, right? No big deal. We don't need any more stress. The traffic does that for us already. So here are some of the bigger issues that I've seen get a lot less emotionally charged when people, leadership teams, start to realize they're just an issue because of the examples of the entrepreneurs, right? The first one's this. I've seen this so many times, especially in the Philippines, where you have many different owners and a lot of them are in the leadership team too. Conflicting goals, confusion, a lot of drama around this. It's just an issue. If you're different people and you want different things, that's the norm, right? We just need to decide which goal we're going to go after. And so you won't believe the number of times I've seen people argue, heated arguments, not realizing they're talking about the same things, right? So realize first it's just an issue. Here's another one. You love them. You love working with these people, but they're just not getting the job done. They're the right people, but they're in the wrong seat. So what do? We keep it simple. Take out the drama. One of the things that I do is, okay, a leader comes to me and says, this person is really not succeeding in this seat. Okay, 1 to 10, 10 being, this is a great person in this seat. How good is this person? How well does this person deliver? And he says, if they say 6, okay, between 6 and 10, that's your issue. With people, with talent, you really only have 2 choices, right? We build or we buy. We build the skills, right? We train them, we make the apprentice. If we have time, that's preferred. Sometimes we don't have time, so we buy. But whatever we do, in EOS, if we're a leader, our number 1 job is to make sure everyone reporting to us succeeds in their seat. Whether that success means needing to let them go so they can find a place where they can succeed. It's no different in relationships, right? It's no fun when somebody keeps you in that relationship, not telling you that it's really not working out, right? Why did you have to take this long? If you really love me, you let me go, right? It is the same in employees. When we're talking about employees, we make them succeed. Sometimes it means we need to let them go. Not hitting targets. It's just an issue. This one is more fun to solve if your data component is strong, right? When we plan, we set a target. In EOS, we say, you set it to hit it. You only set it because you intend to hit it, right? So there are management practices where you set a high goal, so if you don't hit it, you're still there somewhere, you're doing better than you did before. We don't do that in EOS because we believe that it doesn't help the leadership team truly get a pulse. We want them to be able to predict, right? So we set a target. If you have a strong data component, you'll be able to forecast, right? So when the forecast at the end of the quarter is lower than your target, that's just an issue. The issue is how do you close that gap? And usually with sales, it's one of 2 things. It's either you need to build capacity, the demand is there, you build the capacity either in terms of inventory or skills, or you need to build access. The capacity is there, but you're not hitting your target market. This is assuming that there's product market fit. Okay, so there's a gap, there's your issue. Discuss here is brainstorming, really, and maybe some research. If your forecast is above your target, that's still an issue. It's a happier issue, right? But how do we maximize that? If the forecasts are very far from the target, whether it's higher or lower than the target, the deeper issue there is the ability of the team to predict. We don't know our business. Before I sold my company, 1/3 of the company was owned by a private equity firm. And the guy who was taking care of our business, he loved to play this game with me. In the beginning of the quarter, he will ask me, what's the number you're going to end at the end of the quarter? And he will say, top line, midline, bottom line. And if it's beyond 5%, I'm in trouble. So At first, I was very frustrated, but then I started to solve that, and then I realized, I told you so many times, this is how the output needs to look like. I told you so many times, this is the customer service experience that we want. I love this quote from Edward Demings because it's empowering, right? The reason why we're not getting what we want is because there's a system that's making sure we don't get what we want. We may not have a name for that system, but that system exists, or those systems. Sometimes that's the issue. So many systems are running. So when one system runs, we get what we want. Another system runs for the same thing, we don't get what we want. We just need to strengthen the process component. And there are tools for that. Okay? So these issues, we need to love them. As entrepreneurial leadership teams, there's a lot of learning and growth that comes from being able to solve these issues. And we do this by facilitating a great issues list. If there's one thing I hope you take away from tonight, simple learning that will save a lot of trouble, is the habit of dropping your issues down. Once you drop it down in one of two lists. The one that actually needs your attention and the one that can wait, right? Long term, short term. And then you keep this issues list clean. You keep the issues that are true issues. Once a week, you look at this issues list, kill the ones that are either not issues anymore or you've forgotten why they're even there. Combine issues that make sense together, keep, kill, and combine. And then look at those issues list and push the ones that leaders in your team or other members of your team should be solving anyway. In EOS, we call that who, what. And I'll walk you through it, but the concept behind it is this. When we hire people, we hire them because we want them to solve issues that are happening in certain functions, right? But sometimes what happens is, when we hire them, and then there's an issue, we get all upset, and we get very impatient, and we go and solve it, right? What we want to do is for you to remember that we're hiring all these people so they can help us with our problems. So once an issue it's time to solve that issue, first thing we do, the first who here is, who raised this issue? Do not justify an issue that we can't even remember who raised, right? If nobody owns nobody will say, yeah, I raised that issue, I put it on the issues list, kill it. We don't IDS issues that people don't remember. And so when somebody says, me, I raised that issue, the second who is supposed to solve that issue? Person in sales says, that's me, I need to solve that issue. What is just a clarification? What is that issue about? And if the leader says, oh, I got it, let him go and solve it, right? And then just update the leadership team, go to the next issue. Sometimes there will be issues that need a little bit more help from the team. Go IDS that, right? They need help. But if a recurring issue, for example, in sales, and this has happened to me more than a couple of times, we keep on raising sales issues, quarter after quarter. I have to be the one to say, elephant in the room, guys. Who is the sales leader? Right? Who is supposed to be solving the issue? Maybe we have a great person in the wrong seat. Right? So we want to be able to smoke out issues, but we also want to have people actually go and solve them. There's this great reminder to always put the issues in front of us, not between us. We don't surface them. We're scared to surface them. We don't get to solve them. And so I have Abby saying 30 minutes, so I'm going to close with a few tips. The first one is, how do you prioritize issues? Don't overcomplicate it. Most passionate, most important. What does that mean? If somebody says that's an important issue and that's issue number one, leave it. Let that be issue number one. HR may see it as a big issue. Operations might not. But if HR leader says it's number one, it's number one. 1, 2, and 3, and then you solve it. So most passionate, most important. If you brought up an issue in the leadership team because you need help, and even if you're an owner, please do this. Prepare to identify and prepare to discuss. Come up with the data. Sometimes as owners, we go there, we bring up an issue. We know what data we need, but we're hoping it magically appears from somebody else in the team. Just tell them 3 or 4 days before the meeting, I'm going to bring this up. Can you prepare the forecasts, right? So prepare to I and D so you can S. Do not beat a dead horse. The leader who should own the issue gets first dibs to solve it unless they need help. Okay, in EOS, the leadership team at the helm is usually, for entrepreneurial organizations, it's usually 2 people. The owner and somebody who actually does all the things that the owner should be doing that they're not doing. We call that the fearless leader or the integrator. And the owner is the visionary, right? So they're a pair. Whenever there's debates in the day-to-day, the fearless leader makes the call because they're the ones who knows what's going on. So owners, if you have an operator running your business, this is what we recommend. If there are big issues that you probably need to align on, align before you meet with your leadership team. Okay, and then what else do I have here? Okay, a solve is a decision or a to-do. No decision, no to-do, the issue is still an issue, it hasn't been solved. And then if you don't let the issues list just go and build and build and build and get longer and longer, once a quarter, you need to have a longer meeting where you just solve all of the issues until they're clean, gone. Okay? Finally, please roll out some simple tools so that people in your organization can solve the issues at their level. Strengthening the issues component is like building a muscle. You can't do it overnight, right? You need to practice solving these issues. And my experience in Southeast Asia is different from in the US. In the US, everybody just wants to solve issues and they won't even tell you. In the Philippines, in Malaysia, people just don't want to disappoint, so they don't even try. So what we do is we give them tools so they can try. They know what to do, and then they show up, and they help you solve your issues. Okay, and that's how we strengthen the issues component. And so there are tools like this for every component of the business, for vision, for people, for data, for issues, process, and traction. If you want to learn more, you can go to the website Organizational Checkup. It's all one word, organizationalcheckup.com. What you will get is 20 questions and you answer them and it will return an estimate of how strong you are in each of the components. And if you're not 80% strong or better, it will direct you to a resource that will explain why and will help you strengthen the component, teaching you some tools. They're all there for you and they're all free. And so that's it. That's my 30 minutes, 32, right? I just want to thank you for being a great audience, for being nice to me. And as a thank you, we are giving away 5 books. And what Mahesh did was he asked the team to tape 5 claim stubs like this, 15, sorry, posted in the front area of the seat.
I joined EO about in 2013, and I just felt like I was going to work every day, and I was drowning every day. And I felt like there was no accountability, and I had to decide and do everything. And no one wanted to make a decision. They just said that whatever Mahesh decides is the way. And it was just too much pressure that I couldn't, like I had no life. And, you know, I was a young father, and I just wasn't enjoying my work because I felt like I was doing everything. And then when I learned about EOS is when I jumped in and I spoke to you and I was like, you know, I'm dying and I'm drowning here. And then it just changed my life, right? The biggest thing is that it finally pulled me from in to on, and where I let my people actually be accountable for the things that happen within our company, right?
Thanks, Mahesh.
Thank you. So similar to Mahesh, I found out about it after I joined EO. I saw that about 2 of my forum mates at the time were were waxing lyrical about it. And even if they were at the self-implementation program Propel, they already saw very early on what the benefits were. And this resonated with me. So the reason for that is because I'm a first-generation entrepreneur. I never had a mentor in my life. That's one thing that I wish that I had. But the reason why I mentioned that is because, I started my first business when I was 16 years old. And, you learn a thing or two from your first business, you apply it to the second, you learn a thing or two there. Then, by the time like Nippon Hasha 13 years ago when I founded it, was my sixth business. And I was running it in almost like a hodgepodge of whatever I learned, right? And who says it was even right? So it mattered to me because I recognized that in order to build a strong brand, and I am managing, in the business of managing retail brands, brands that interact directly with the customer. And the most engaging brands in the world are the ones whose experiences are predictable by nature. So consistency is so important. And I say that because if you pick up your iPhone and all of a sudden the font is different or the apps work differently, then you're not going to have a good experience. In the same way that if I don't achieve consistency in my restaurants, then the customers are not going to be able to enjoy the experience and not going to be engaged enough. And so I knew that there was a need for something like this to enable us to be more consistent at that level that I wanted it to become.
In my case, it was quite different from Mahesh and Ryan's story. So when I discovered EOS through the book Traction, this was introduced to me by my friend maybe 7, 8 years ago. I started straightforward as a student in college. And like Ryan, I'm a first-generation entrepreneur. And when I read the book Traction, that was 7 years ago, it was fantastic. And it really got me excited. Just reading the first few pages of that book really just wanted me to try it out and try it out. And what did not work when that happened was I read one chapter, I implement, I read the next chapter, and then I implement. What ended up happening was my team would just get so confused, right? So after getting into entrepreneurs organization, that's when I met Aya, and I'm just grateful that she guided me through the entire implementation process. I think it comes with being a first-generation entrepreneur that you want to figure things out by yourself. It's just a lot of trial and error and trial and error. And, I mean, from the entrepreneur's perspective, that sounds so exciting because you get to learn firsthand and you get front row seats to your own mistakes. But what about all the employees that make the mistake with you that does not really get a say? And that's when it hit me hard that, there's got to be something. There's got to be something out there. And that's when I revisited the book Traction. And, Aya was a phone call away. So that was the gift. So yeah.
Thanks, Gerald.
One of the first things that we did was to clarify the accountabilities. And that meant making an accountability chart, which is, in everyday terms, it's the organizational chart. And one of the key things was that when we built our accountability chart, I was told by Aya to imagine that everyone is fired, and we want to put the seats where they should be first. So we want to make sure that we want to think that as if there's no one in the organization, and then we just want to imagine what a well-functioning organization might look like. What are the important seats and where should they be placed? So we did that, and we laid out the accountabilities of each seat. And once we did that, we asked each person in my leadership team if they got it, if they understood the job, if they wanted it, and if they had the capacity to do it. So I'm asked what was the most challenging thing about it. I could really still recall the time when we were doing it, Aya was there, and I'm a retail brand, and creatives matter a lot. I mean, being a retailer, it's all about really coming up with that emotional connection, and a lot of that is really visual. Right? That's when we learned that our main creative director did not get the job, wanted it, but had no capacity to do it. And I was afraid to do it. I was afraid to really confront that reality that my trusted guy was not the right person for the right seat. And but to confront it in that situation, in such an objective position, was actually a gift, because I think that saved us from a lot of problems that saved us a lot of problems that we would have had faced in different monsters if we had not done that. So that was it. Yeah.
Nice. Thanks, Gerald. So maybe Ryan, before you answer that question.
We from Satyam Trading. I actually have a question, if that's all right.
Yeah, for who?
Anyone can answer who among the panel is best fit to answer. I'd
Okay.
appreciate.
Thank you. And what is the question?
So we currently have a manager who is feeling overwhelmed with what tasks that we are giving her. Is there a possibility that we are over-delegating, or do we have an incompetent person handling the role? And it's hard to see everything on this person's shoes because everyone's built differently and we don't process the things the same way. So how do you advise us to solve this situation or this problem?
For any person that's overwhelmed, right, with what you need to do, the first step is just to make a list. Make a list of everything that you need to do. Start with the things that you need to do on a daily basis, and then a weekly, a monthly, quarterly, everything, right? So take a moment, lock your door, do this in silence, and then when you're done making a list of the 1 to 176 things that you do, you get a sheet of paper, and then you divide it into 4 quadrants. On this bottom side, you put don't like bad. On this quadrant, you put don't like good. Here, you put like / good. And here you put love / great. And then you go to your list and you start to put them in one of these quadrants, right? All 176 of them. This one, I don't like to do it, but I got to do it. And I'm bad at it too. This one, I don't like to do it. This is number 2. But I've done it so many times, I'm actually good at it, honestly. So I put it here. You do the rest, right? This one, even in my sleep, I can do this and I'll be better than anybody else. And it's just really natural to me. I love it, I'm great at it. So you put them all in this, right? Your 176 list. And then what do? You take this, and if it's not enough, you also take this and you turn it into a job description. You then ask HR, hire someone who is a rock star in these things, right? When you do this, you will not only be able to delegate the stuff that you don't like, you'll create immense energy. You know why? Because there's a name for these boxes. The stuff that we don't like to do and we're bad at, this is our incompetence, right? We're only doing them because it comes with a job. This is the stuff that we procrastinate on, and when we do actually get to work on them and they're a bigger problem than they started out, we're so slow because we're bad at them. So this is a huge energy vampire. This is our area of mediocrity. We're good at it, but at best, that's all we can be because we don't like to do it. So if you can't delegate it, you delegate these. This is our area of excellence. You do this 10 years like Taylor Swift did, you'll get to your area of genius, right? Our goal, especially as we're founders and entrepreneurs, is to start delegating everything but genius. When you find yourself having delegated something, but you feel like they're overwhelmed, you might have delegated to a person who would have put it here or maybe here, but not in their genius box, right? So that's an example of a tool that you can actually use with that manager. Does that help?
Yes, thank you so much.
The quadrant for the things that you love and the things that you're great at, that is the end goal. Because what we want to do things which, as Aya said, are part of our native genius. Other people like Dan Sullivan, he calls it unique ability or unique brilliance. And it's very much intrinsically linked to the Pareto principle, right? Where a lot of the things in our 80% we should let go of because they don't really add a lot of value. We should only focus on the 20% of the things that we're really fantastic at. And the dream is actually to have a team of people who are only focused on their native geniuses, because in that way you become so much more efficient. And people end up going to work and going to the office and only doing the things that they love doing. And that's an alignment of your purpose.
Exactly. That's called a unique ability team. Yes, yes. Miss.
So my name is Indu, and I've been running a staffing recruitment agency for quite some time. I think the core here is, I've been working corporate for 8 years. When you hire someone who has a great corporate experience, it doesn't materialize to entrepreneurial. So I think a lot of us entrepreneurs in this room, it's like when we receive a resume that seems excellent and to the T, like if I was in selling sportswear, I found someone who worked for the Adidas of the world, it may seem attractive, but take a step back, look at that drive, look at that person. That person was templated with direction to get them to where they are. But as entrepreneurs, we need folks that go way beyond, who will draw the stars and actually work around what our business needs. I'm sure that's what you were talking about, Gerald, and also Ryan. It's like really finding people who are ready to serve without that template. So again, when you recruit, as you mentioned, people is a core component. It's really essential that it's where are they from, what are their background, not really the brands they carry behind them.
Right. They might be great for some other company's definition of great, not necessarily ours, right? Does anyone want to add anything to that? Okay, we'll continue with the question. Biggest struggle.
Challenges. Okay, so I would say two main things. First is, in hindsight, I would have approached it on a more holistic level, meaning that anytime you implement something that has to do with change management, you can't just hire an implementer and expect everyone to get it, right? As amazing as you are and you were. Now, the reason why I say that is because anytime you get into that, there will always be, yes, innovators, but there are also early adopters, late adopters, laggards, and resistors. And you have to be able to identify that at every level of the organization. You have to, for example, supplement it yourself, maybe send out an email, follow-ups. Maybe you can do a pilot test in a certain department first to show people what the benefits are. You have to, again, identify the people who are resisting the movement, because what happened with myself is that one of those people is actually my finance head. So sometimes when you bring in old people like me, you bring in someone who believes in a set of ways in which there's an organization is supposed to work, and she refused to adopt the system, and she didn't want to follow the structure, and I had to let her go. She had the temptation of what you call status over results. So as long as she was doing what she felt was her job, she didn't care about the overall results of the company and what it wanted to achieve. And second was, and this is actually a good thing, but it was a challenge, it's removing the shroud that you have and revealing the actual performance or the scorecard of people. And, when I trained my team, I used to have these mancoms or excoms of 13 people, including myself. From the 13 people, only 4 are left. Because I now have the metrics and I'm able to tell exactly how well people are truly performing. Because the way that I was doing it is, how human beings are. You tend to think, oh yeah, I think this person is good, but you're not really sure. And a month passes, a month becomes 3, 3 becomes 6, and all of a sudden you've been paying someone in your payroll that you shouldn't have. So that is related to the bottom line. So I thank EOS for that. But the challenge there is to really find people according to the metrics that you now have.
Thanks, Ryan.
So so my real struggle was, I think, human mentality. everybody wants to get better now. And that's just not going to happen. So EOS is a 2-year process to become even good at it. There's no such thing as perfect, right? It's always a revolving door, but it's a 2-year process.
Yeah.
But the problem is, people say, let's do EOS and let's have changes tomorrow. And when you don't see the changes, you give up. So it's the mindset of people that you have to realize that the only way that change actually takes place is when you practice it day in and day out.
Practice.
Then it becomes a habit. So that implementation factor of people, if they don't keep on trying, then they lose hope. And then it dies very fast. So you will struggle and struggle and struggle. But it takes time to get better at it. So even if you're not doing well, you can't give up. You have to keep going. You have to keep fighting. And I was that fighter telling my people, no, we gotta keep trying to get better. Even when they're like, but it's not working. I'm like, but how can you say it's not working? We just started. It takes time. That was my biggest struggle.
Yeah, and to add to that, so EOS is a journey for the leadership team. So if you're a leadership team, you can only go as fast as the slowest one in the team. That's why sometimes it even takes longer than 2 years. We have a question here.
I hope you don't find this very humorous, but first I'll identify myself. My name is Hiro Asandas Darenani. I'm past president of this prestigious chamber. Now, I was chuckling within myself and I said to myself that you mentioned the word genius. I suppose all of us are geniuses. They only have to be identified. My question is, how do you identify a bloody genius?
The way that we define it, and maybe those of you have found their genius, is it's something that we love to do and we're great at. So for me, when I think of a genius that maybe, actually I'm not sure that you'll identify with, is Taylor Swift. Because, she knows her target market, she makes $13 million a night, and then she'll sleep, she'll wake up the next morning, she'll do the same thing for another target market, and she'll earn the same amount of money, and she'll do it night after night after night, and she enjoys it. To me, that's genius. So I think for genius, the way that at least I look at it is you'll be able to identify it, you love to do it, and you're great at it.
Would you say that sometimes so-called geniuses are the most difficult people to get along with?
Maybe.
Anybody from the audience wants to answer this?
I think it's a simplification of a state of happiness that's natural to us, is what we meant by it.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. Thank you.
So, sir, it's more of, just to add. So, when we talk about finding your native genius, one clue is if someone or yourself is good at something without requiring a lot of effort. And you know how for example, you asked me to do a P&L. Okay, that's my bad area. I'm not very good with finance.
But he
and
was
accounting.
good at something but did not bring in results. But he is a guy who was a dumb ass and he brought in the best results. Would you call him a genius?
Yeah. Actually, I mean, for him to be able to find a way to be more efficient, then I would say so, because everything that we do it has to be linked to results.
Boo. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I was just trying to make it difficult for you.
No
my
problem.
pleasure, my pleasure.
No problem.
Thank you.
Accept the challenge.
And just to finish my thought, one way we do it in our company is I have regular one-on-ones with my team. Every direct report that I have, so I have about 5 or 6 direct reports, I have 2 one-on-ones with them every single month. And if we are only going to look at the performance of our people, we have to understand that you're only managing one part of your person. You have to manage the entire person. And in order to manage an entire person, you need to know their strengths, their fears, their motivations, their inspirations.
I think I'll have lunch with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, real pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President.
When he said that just 3 years or so ago, he felt like he was drowning, and everything. He felt like he had to do everything to get some movement going. I just wanted to ask you, how is things now? I mean, are you still in the same boat, or is it? I mean, are you able to get the same results or better results? How do you feel now, though?
I'm the president of the Federation of Indian Chamber and Commerce. If I was still drowning, I would not be the president here sitting today. So it is much better. That's my answer to you.
And how's the organization running now? Better than ever? Or?
Yes, better than ever. And on its own. Yes, they still report. Yes, I'm still in meetings. But the one thing that I've learned is people are starting to make decisions without asking me questions and being accountable for it. And that's the key to running a successful business, to me.
You know, that's the thing. I feel sometimes that everything just falls on my plate. And if you're able to do it with EOS, then...
I have a story for you. This is the story about the monkey in the room. Everyone will come to you with their problems. And then they will come and they will bring, let's say you put it as an analogy, right? They come into the room with a problem, and the problem is a monkey. And you have 10 people coming into your room and they have 10 problems. Suddenly they all leave and now you have 10 monkeys in your room. You're trying to do your job. You're trying to figure out what's the future of your company, and you have 10 monkeys running around, jumping in your room. Can you do anything? No. The goal is the leaders speak last. When they come in with a problem, instead of telling them the solution, ask them, what would you do? And many a times, even if what they do is a mistake, you have to let them run with it. Because if they learn from their mistake, they will improve. And that's the thing we all need to learn, is we need to keep our mouth shut. And it's tough because many a times we know what to do. But we need to keep our mouth shut and we need to let them decide and let them make their mistakes and let them grow. And that's when they don't leave the monkey in the room. And little by little, it takes time. That's my answer to you.
Thanks a lot. But for the other two as well, do you feel that EOS significantly reduced your stress? I mean, that's...
By a huge way. And the stress can come from different levels. It's achieving the vision of the company and, you know, attached with the insecurity of not being able to achieve it. I'm in F&B retail. And it's definitely a challenging industry to be in. And I recognize that when I run my company, it is driven by two things. So one is painfully obvious, it's money, just as any other business. But the other is the engagement of my people. And the reason why I say that is because in the food business, you can have the best chefs and give you the best recipes, but if you don't have the engagement of your people, then you'll never reach the potential of that recipe. All you have is an idea, you know. So holding them accountable to a certain standard is one of the most stressful things. If you don't have a proper platform, a system to enable that, then you're going to have nightmares. And I'm going to use a contrasting example. Why is it, and I'm going to ask a question, that compared to private businesses, if you give the government something, they're far more likely to mismanage it, right? And it's not because they wake up and they ask themselves, oh, how am I going to mismanage this thing? And the reason for that is because there is no system of meritocracy built into them. They are not built for remuneration based on performance, right? Because there is no incentive to perform. And in the private market, there's an incentive. It's called survival. You either perform or you die. So, and this is the reason why you don't give anyone the burden of responsibility without a counterweight of accountability. Because there is a real existential threat. Sooner or later, your business will die a natural death, your shareholders will take you out, or the board will just make a decision to shut you down. So if you are not able, and the reason why I say this, to hold your people early, clearly, and frequently according to their accountabilities, and you know what the problem is, you're not preventing the small problems from becoming big ones. And avoiding that is really nothing but negligence on our part.
I want to add something, and I'm going to make you answer this, okay? I'm going to ask you a question. Do people only work for money today? What do our employees want? This is going to add to your question. Do people come in for a paycheck? Is that enough? That's my question to you. And I want to hear what you have to say, Gerald.
So I think the reason why Mahesh asked me that question is because he knows that my workforce is young. Like, I'm 33, I'm 32, and everyone in my workforce is below 30. And when they come to work, and there's a lot of options to work now. They can work remotely. They can work for the US, right? They could work for multiple countries, and they get paid in dollars. But I think the reason why they show up to work is because they find themselves in their place of genius when they come in. They love what they do, and they're great, and they know they can be, or they're great at it. So contrast that to people showing up to work and, you know, they know for sure at their maximum potential, they'll only be mediocre at it. It's tough to swallow for most, yeah. But to answer your question, has things changed? Has anything changed ever since I implemented the EOS? So I'd like to think that I spend more time at work now prior to being an EOS. I mean, it's only because it's my choice. And I love it. I love every single hour that I'm at work. And I love it because I don't have to do the many things I didn't want to do. And one of the gifts of EOS, and I could say that it's also a pain point, is you gotta learn how to delegate. And delegate comes with recruitment. So you have to have a strong recruitment arm to make things work because you gotta have to delegate to the right people. But once that's done, I end up spending more time in the office because it's my choice. I want to be there versus I need to be there. And I love it. And I love it. So that's all I have to say.
Thanks so much for your thoughts.
Thank you. You're still going to get stressed, but it's because we're going to bring it, right? This is, let's say this is level of performance right here, and this is time. This is your EOS implementation. And this is where you want your level of performance to be, your team. Year 1, year 2, year 3. It usually takes teams about 2 years to get to where they need to be, master the tools of EOS. So when they start the journey, they start with forming. And then they're going to go into storming. And then they're going to go into norming and then performing if they survive it, right? So when they form, we're starting something, they're going to storm. There's a lot of new things going on, right? Performance will be low. We will continue, right? With EOS Trust Builders, this can be shorter, but it's not gonna happen. We predict it, right? And so when you get to the 3rd year, your stress will still be there, but it's happy stress because the issues are issues we will bring. How do we bring down a competitor? How do we, do something? It's not the firefighting boring issues anymore. Those get delegated to the areas where they need to go. So unless you want to go to the owner's box, if you want to be in the leadership team, it's just going to be a change in the issues. But we're gonna bring them. We're looking for them. Okay?
I'm not going to give anymore the last question because I want to use the stub.
Thank
And two good friends of mine who came up today to share their journey. I really hope you get something out of this. Everything on the EOS website is absolutely free. Every tool, go there, you can get it on your own, you can use it in your company tomorrow. You don't have to take everything, but the goal is to take the step of change and find ways to improve day by day. And the last book is my gift to Jeff. Happy birthday! Can we have the cake here? And let's do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. Make a wish your wife doesn't kill you tonight. Happy birthday. Thank you. Can we get a picture? Aya, join us.
straightforward. Thank you. Followed by Mr. Ryan Cruz, founder and CEO of Mendokoro I'm bad with Japanese, and Kazunori Ramen Yushoken. Thank you. And last but not the least, Ms. Araya Del Rosario. Thank you so much.
One of my biggest takeaways from tonight's event with the speaker from US was that there's a lot of different aspects to our business that requires identification and also being able to delegate and discuss. So I think things like that, which pushes us to identify issues and also recognizing what the difference between goals, issues, and things that are in your to-do list as well. So understanding that identifying a lot of different aspects, whether it's data and it's your problems that you're having in your business, requires a lot of different segregation. And I thought one of the most interesting things is also identifying incompetence in your quadrant, genius, and also things that you're good at and you don't like to do, and at the same time like the mediocrity. So I think all of that was really interesting. Out of all of the things that I do want to implement from what I've learned today, or what I'll take as an action, is trying to understand how to foster more engagement when it comes to the workspace and our employees, and being able to visualize what that position is supposed to do, and setting up the seats prior to just hiring anyone to fill in those shoes. And so being able to have that visualization is also very important. So I think that's one of the key things that I took away from it, and that I'll implement.
Hi everyone. So I enjoyed tonight's EOS talk, so much so that I learned that we all have issues, right? So I think what's most important, which I took away, is that we need to IDS it, right? We need to identify, discuss, and solve the issue. So one of the things that I will immediately be activating is the Elevate and Delegate tool that we learned about how to put into 4 quadrants the different tasks in the office, and to find what is our ultimate genius, or what are we good at, and what do we love doing. I think with that, all our operations will be more effective, and also we'll be able to make use of the resources and the people that we have in our operations more efficient.
Hi, my name is Veena. I'm one of the directors at GSSPH Consulting Solution Inc. So as a leader, I face challenges every day in terms of increasing productivity. I kind of feel like I'm always hitting a wall in terms of motivating my staff. So I think my key takeaway from today's EOS program was the entire model of how things can be divided into. Like they said, that you have to really focus on your vision, your data, the process, the traction issues, and people. And I really like that we went deep into handling issues and how to actually sort of tackle the issues by prioritizing certain things and numbering what issues you want to deal with first. I think that is what I get overwhelmed with on a day-to-day basis, because there's operation issues, and then there is financial issues, and then there's staffing issues, which is something that I deal with on a daily basis. And I get so overwhelmed at times that I just sit back and I'm like, I don't want to deal with any of this. So I think categorizing them certainly would help. And that was my biggest takeaway today. And I am definitely going to implement the way to handle my issues, or handle our work issues, our company issues, based on the EOS model that I learned today. So thank you so much. I really had a great time and it was fantastic learning for today. It was my first event with FICCI and it was excellent. I'm so glad to be a part of this organization. Thank you very much.
So I learned a lot from tonight's talk on EOS, but one of my biggest takeaways tonight was really the quadrant on how to determine where one is incompetent, mediocre, excellent, and a genius. And I intend to put into action whatever I learned tonight. And by tomorrow, I hope to evaluate not only myself, but also the people that I work with so that I can bring out the genius in the people I work with.
I think from tonight's EOS topic, I think the primary thing is like spreading the values and sort of the core of this process to your whole organization and ecosystem, understanding which areas people would like to focus on, and identifying in which ways in which your organization would like to grow. So generally eye-opening, and generally I think that this is something a lot of us entrepreneurs need to embed in our workforce and not just within ourselves as the upper management.
So what was my biggest takeaway from this EOS talk? It is that we need to identify the right person for the right job, and we also need to know that they enjoy doing that job so they can consistently keep going at it day in and day out and continue to drive results. So one of the key things that I want to implement in my office with the EOS is that I want to start now having my charts of people, talking to them about what tasks that they're willing to do and what tasks they enjoy, and properly delegating it to the right person. So if someone enjoys cleaning a car more often, then I will give him that task. If someone enjoys the sales more often, I will give him that task and see how that drives results for my company.